Hey everybody, what's going on? Hexlex here with another Master Duel video for you guys. Today we're going to be taking a look at another of the Limit 1 Festival decks that I've been trying out. This one, as you can see here, is going to be my take on Phantom Knights for this festival. So, this was one of the decks that I was kind of thinking was probably going to be pretty good for the Limit 1 Festival, because really, Phantom Knights, more than anything else, aren't even as much about, like, in-archetype stuff, at least when it comes to their starting, like, plays, or, like, the start of combos, as it is about just having, like, 2 level 3 monsters. And there's definitely, like, a plethora of ways to get 2 level 3 monsters on the board. There's so many different options that it just kind of seemed like a bit of a no-brainer that, you would be able to do quite a bit with Phantom Knights here in the festival. You could even actually be doing more than I'm doing. You could lean more into the Burning Abyss package, which I have not because I don't have any Dantes, which I do believe are ultra rares. Actually, I know they are ultra rares because I did look into that, and I actually was kind of thinking about crafting one, but then I decided, I'll just, you know me, I'm always like, well, I'll just save my materials. And actually, I am saving them for good reason, because I do have a new deck or two that I want to try even before Flows and Adventurers come out. So do be on the lookout for those, or that rather. At least one new deck, ideally in the near future, should be featured soon. But in the meantime, we're here at the Limit 1 Festival, which has actually been a very, very fun festival so far, I think. And I think a lot of people agree. I think this is the best one since the normal rare event, which honestly I think goes to show, which is kind of something that I noticed after the normal rare event. I was like, honestly, these like special rules kind of festivals are definitely way better than, I mean, they're all special rules type of festivals, but these ones that actually have a special rule crafted around like something other than just limiting to a summoning mechanic, I think those are the kind of festivals where they seem like a bit more of a drag. And again, I think most people agree with that. Like, just being able to, have a huge swath of different decks you can play. You can get really creative, especially at this Limit 1 event. And beyond that, I think there was also a really good ban list implemented for this event, so gotta give Konami props to that. I would really like to see more events like this in the future. And I actually remember saying the exact same thing during the normal rare event, where I was like, wow, this is a really, really fun event. I would love to see more like this. So, definitely looking forward to more events that are not just like, you have to stick to this one summoning mechanic, or I don't know, we'll see about types and attributes if those end up being any good, but well, that's in the future. But so this deck in particular was actually pretty easy to put together. It was really just kind of the this, more than a lot of other decks, just kind of putting together all the different tech options that you could conceivably play in Phantom Knights. I think one card I would drop, now that I've played a bunch of games, is this Fiendish Rhino Warrior. Just didn't really ever come up for me, and the one time it did, I just ended up sending a tour guide, because I didn't really, it's only tour guide, Graph, and Seer. I guess I should be playing more Burning Abyss cards, so I'm going to be playing Fiendish, just need to throw that D in there, Rhino Warrior here. So I would probably drop this for a different level 3 extender, but otherwise I'm really liking this build. It's very solid, and we're gonna go through the list here. I'll explain some card choices and some engines, and then we'll take a look at some games. So we have Maxi, Marauding Captain, Junk Forward, Tour Guide, Kagemusha Knight, Graph, Malbranch of the Burning Abyss, Seer, Malbranch of the Burning Abyss, Fiendish Rhino Warrior, Speedroid Terratop, Speedroid Takatomborg, Phantom Knights of Ancient Cloak, Phantom Knights of Silent Boot, Phantom Knight of Ragged Gloves, Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, Danger Jackalope, Danger Tsukinoko. We've got a Psychic Wielder, Psychic Tracker, Phantom Knights of the, I always forget this one, Stained Brigandine, or Stained Greaves. It's the newer ones. I always get the newer ones mixed up. Except Torn Scales. That was easy to remember. Torn Scales. We've got Jirio Punk, Madam, Spider, that's what it is. I was going to say, I've never played these Punk cards before playing this deck, so there's, of course, no Punk Ziamin. Danger Nessie. We've got no Punk Foxy Toon, Nibiru the Primal Being, Raigeki, Feather Duster, Foolish, Reinforcements, Lightning Storm, E-Telly, Call By, Crossout, Droplet, Phantom Knights Rank Up, Magic Force, Phantom Knights Wing, Phantom Knights of Shade Brigandine, Infinite Impermanence, the Jirio Punk Dangerous Gaboo, that's what it is. And then, of course, Phantom Knights Fogblade. Down here in the extract, we have F-Zero Utopic Future and F-Zero Utopic Draco Future. We have Levier the Sea Dragon, Phantom Knights of Break Sword, Bamboos. Oh, I'm sorry, this is a Oh no, I actually have to go to the actual builds. Oh, that's right, because I accidentally put Gossip Shadow in. Oh, but I was using a different deck, so apologies for that. Yeah, much like the deck with Imperial Order in it, I accidentally put in a banned card. So let's see, what did I have instead? It was... Oh, crap. It was... I know one of them was the Nightmare Unicorn, which actually... oops, if I can actually spell here. Which I probably would have... I don't know if I would have dropped this card for my extra deck, but I should have put in another Link 2 and or another Rank 3 into this build. What was the other... Oh, this is going to bother me so much that I can't remember it. It wasn't another Rank 3, because I remember thinking I only had Levier and Breaksword. Am I going to have to cut? Am I going to have to cut until I remember what it was? I think I might. Oh, no, I do remember. It was Downward Magician, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was Downward Magician. Yeah, because I was thinking of cutting this. It was this I was thinking of cutting for another Rank 3 or a Link 2. Because the Unicorn did come up, but this Downward really didn't. It was just kind of an extra, Zeus material, but I never ended up using it. There were times where I could have used another Rank 3. So, anyway, now, sorry about that. Now onto the extra deck. We have our F-Zero Utopic Future, F-Zero Utopic Draco Future, Levier, Phantom Knights of Breaksword, Downward Magician, Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon, Raider's Knight, Dark Requiem Xyz Dragon, Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon, Divine Arsenal Azus Sky Thunder, Cherubni, Nightmare Unicorn, Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardish, Appaloosa, and Access Code Talker. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of it is pretty standard, Phantom Knight stuff that we're already using, as well as like level 3 extenders like Brooding Captain. We'll summon a level 3 monster out of our hand. A Junk Forward's level 3 that summons itself. Kagemusha's level 3 that summons itself. The Speedroids. You can special the Terratop and then search and special the Takaton Borg. Of course, we're playing the level 3 Dangers. We're also playing Nessie, not because of the level, because obviously level 7 doesn't really do a whole lot here, but it's a potential discard and then draw, but then also if it discards itself, you can then add one of the level 3 Dangers, so that's why I decided to go with Nessie as my extra danger monster here. And then, yeah, we're also including the Punk Engine, so basically the way the Punk Engine works is ideally, you start with Ziamine. You can use Ziamine to get Foxy Tune. Foxy Tune's effect lets you then send the Ziamine to summon it. And then you can either do that, or what you can do is you can just send it and the Ziamine in order to get the Madam Spider. Madam Spider then gets the Punk Dangerous, which is a free monster effect negate trap. You don't have to actually control Punk to get the negate. It's just to gain the life points. So it's a nice little level 3 engine there that can also throw in a trap that negates monster effects, which is pretty good for this format. Disruption can be a little hard to come by in Limit 1 format because all of our hand traps and usual like generic disruption tools are all obviously limited to 1. So having good searchable targets like that is very good. And, yeah, I mean, like I said, the rest is pretty self-explanatory, so I think without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into some gameplay. Okay, so this is going to be against Trizu, this first game here, which, funnily enough, I was kind of under the impression that Trizu was going to be, like, maybe a Tier 2 deck in this format, but I think it might actually end up being Tier 1. I mean, I've been seeing it a lot anyway, excuse me, and, And yeah, the extent that I've been seeing it kind of makes me think that it's either that a lot of people are just, default going to it because it's a Tier 1 deck. To be fair, I've seen a fair amount. Well, actually, I haven't seen nearly as many Sword Soul, like Tenyi Worm, decks. So maybe it is just actually, a good deck. I mean, to be fair, like I emphasized during the video, the Zodiac engine is very good in this format. Just as a good engine in general. And actually, the next deck we're going to try in the next video makes use of the Zodiac engine, but does not have Tri-Brigades, so do look forward to that. So yeah, we get max seed here, so I'm just going to go ahead and stop. I mean, I've talked about this before. Generally, when I get max seed, I don't like to give my opponent too many draws, especially in a deck like this where, I mean, I guess I could have gone for, like, the Breaksword, but then I don't even have the Phantom Knights to get back if it does get destroyed, so, without really a good rank 3 to end on, a good generic one. Maybe I almost want to include like a Zen Mines or something, but there's no way Zen Mines is still good. That's definitely, God, it feels weird to say that Zen Mines is a Yugi Boomer card, because that still feels like a new card to me, but that was like 2012, 13? Well, anyway, we have a max C of our own, so I'm totally comfortable just ending, without going into really anything here. And besides that, I like ending on this board in particular because Marauding Captain has the ability to protect monsters from attacks, warrior monsters, so that means if they only have one monster like they do here, they're not going to be able to target my Torn Scales for an attack, which means it's more likely to survive, and then I can use the effect next turn to make it even easier to go off. Especially given that I have the Danger Jackalope, which I'm going to go ahead and discard here. So even though I get impermed, that's totally fine. We're making plays and also drawing answers without having to commit anything that's in our hand, like a normal, or not even just a normal summon, just any of the resources that are in our hand. So anytime you can do that in a situation like this, definitely ideal. Like, look at this. We've already forced the imperm and the revolt, and we've still got like plays. Like, even if everything on board gets answered right now, we still have so many plays in our hand. But we have the droplet to pitch the wings here. So I'm actually like really like just sure I'm gonna win. Like probably even this turn. If I remember right, I just win this turn. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and droplet, and I'll send both the junk forward and the wing to negate both, because I don't want them to get anything back with the Rugal either, in order to be able to win this turn. And I also won't need the junk forward. Its special summon effect is not going to come up anymore, because I am planning on using the resources I already have on the board in order to continue my plays. So now we go into Trubni. Now we can set up the Rusty Bardish, and then the fact that we have the Rusty Bardish set up, plus the extra level 3 monster on board, plus you know, the extra resources already set up in the graveyard, like the boots, like the Torn Scale, like the wing, like the cloak. I mean, we just have it. You know, this is like a do whatever you want kind of scenario. So I'm trying to remember what I actually end up going for game with here. I think I make an access code talker or something like that. But yeah, like as you can see here, do whatever you want scenario. Fully abound here. Ah, that's right, we go for the break sword. Oh, that's right, I just ended up putting a bunch of stuff on the board just to add up to the total amount of damage, because we go for the break sword that's going to let us destroy the Shuri here, and then we can use the break sword. I'm just going to even pop the Sukanoko here and not even worry about it, because then we can just go into Ancient Cloak, add the Stained Greaves. Now we can go into our rank 4. That's going to get us a Dark Rebellion. We can then banish the Silent Boots to add the rank up spell, and because it's quick play, we can go ahead and battle with everything. And then if we still, I think we would still need the extra damage here. Actually, how much damage is this altogether? 25 plus 21. No, that's actually 8,000 on board right there. But even if it wasn't, we could still search the rank up spell. And then because it's quick play during the battle phase, we could battle with Dark Rebellion, activate the quick play spell, and then rank up into the Dark Requiem, and then battle with that. Unless there's a restriction on the rank up spell that I'm not remembering, like that you can't use it during the battle phase, or that monster can't attack or something. But I'm pretty sure that should work. So yeah, all right, let's go ahead and move on to the next game. So this game's going to be against, it was like Invoked Kaiju Sword Soul was the kind of mashup. It's a very interesting festival. I really like about this one, even unlike the normal Rare Festival, there really does not seem to be like a clear-cut tier 1 decks here, just because the decks can be so varied. I actually really like this mode. This like normal Rare Festival, I would totally be down for this to be like a rotating mode, like on the regular. Like I know Magic Arena, if I recall correctly, I remember hearing this. I think I've seen it in the few times I've watched Arena played on like YouTube or something, where don't they have like special? They have like a rotating list of events like continuously. It's kind of like the festivals, but it's like continuously going. I would love for like, you know, 1 week out of the month, once a month, to do like Limit 1 festival for a couple extra bonus rewards. It doesn't have to be obviously on par with like the monthly festival awards, just like even like a scaled back version of that once a week. I'd totally be down for that. So it'd be really cool if Konami could implement something like that. So but yeah, here, you know, we're the luckiest player in the world, so we just opened both Lightning Storm and Raigeki. That actually happens in, oh, that's actually the next video. That's going to happen again then, but yeah, that's kind of the interesting thing about this format, right? Like, our board wipe effects are actually a lot better in this case. Wow, I didn't think the game that I saved was that short, but I guess that just goes to show this game really emphasizes how powerful board wipe effects are in this format. Like, you know, Raigeki, Feather Duster, Lightning Storm, Dark Hole, Torrential Tribute, just those effects in general. Or just Twin Twister, that's the other one I wanted to bring up. Really back row removal, because we're in Limit 1 Festival and people are turning to like a more varied responses, again, because we were not able to play 3 Max V, we're not able to play 3 Ash Blossom or like multiple, hand traps, multiple imperms. So people were turning more towards like the Solemns or Torrential, or like Chalice, or just stuff that you have to traditionally set. As a result, back row removal becomes a lot better during this format. So even though that was a really short game, I still feel it emphasizes a good point about cards like Raigeki and Lightning Storm. You really do want to be maxing out, if at all possible, on as many of those cards as you can. So, all right, let's go ahead and watch like the next game now. An actual game is what I mean. Okay, so this game, oops, sorry, hit my straw on my water there. So this game is going to be against a Sword Soul Worm kind of deck. It also had a couple of Time Lords I noticed, but I don't remember those coming up at all. So we're going to take the first turn here. We've got a Kage Musha Knight and an E-Telly, so that's pretty good. I'm going to lead with the E-Telly because it's most likely to get ashed or just responded to with a hand trap. And because we're using E-Telly and the Punk engine, I actually get to use the Punk engine to go off of it here. So what I did was I E-Tellied for Z-Admin, or Z-Amine, I always want to call it Z-Admin. I E-Tellied for Z-Amine, paid 600 to add the Madam Spider, which I could then normal summon, and then in turn special the Kage Musha Knight, then pay 600 to add this trap, and then now I can go into my Cherubini with the 2 Punk cards. So it's not even just like drawing the Z-Amine and normal summoning that makes the engine so good, like that line is really good, but also being able to E-Telly. I don't know, like playing this line, especially here, makes me really want to just put the Punk engine in my actual Phantom Knight deck. I may actually end up trying that out, so who knows? We may see an update in that vein in the near future. I actually did recently record an update for the Phantom Knight deck, so you'll see that maybe somewhere in the middle of the Limit 1 videos or after them. I'm not too sure at this point exactly where I'm going to throw it in, but now I'm thinking of doing yet another update where I include this Punk engine, because again, just playing it in the festival here, I'm fairly thoroughly impressed, so... Yeah, so I end up doing a little bit of a weird line here because I kind of thought I had... Again, I just was looking for more rank 3s here. I think I could have made an F0 if I had another like rank 3 or something to go into. Or maybe it was a different rank 4. I just remember thinking something along those lines. I remember this being one of the games where I thought, okay, I should put in either like a Nightmare unit or a Nightmare Phoenix rather, and or just another good generic rank 3. So yeah, again, I would make those tweaks to the deck. I don't know if I'm actually going to be playing this deck more in the Limit 1 Festival. There are still quite a few other decks I would like to try. Oh, that's right, they have the Lightning Storm. Again, we're seeing... Look, now we're seeing it on our opponent's side, just how good the board wipes are in this format. The Lightning Storm and the Raigeki. And then now I just drew the Harpy's Feather Duster, not that my opponent has anything to remove, but... yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and use the Fog Blade to bring back the Rusty Bardish here, so that way I can go ahead and activate its effect. And no response to the opponent, we'll go ahead and set up the Ragged Gloves and the Break Up spell here, because I would like to try to set up the Dark Rebellion. However, the problem with that is that we have already used our Shade Brigandine, right? So that means that the only way we can get 2 level 4s out now is by using Break Sword. Although didn't we use... No, that was last game I think we used Break Sword. Yeah, because I'm going for it right now. So, but the problem there is that my opponent doesn't have anything to blow up, so I'm not able to actually summon the Break Sword. But I'll go ahead and put it on the board anyway, because Break Sword gets the 2 Phantom Knights back as level 4s, even if it's destroyed like by battle or something. It doesn't have to be destroyed by a card effect or by its own effect. It's just when it's destroyed. So yeah, still going to make it here because my opponent just might end up running over it, in which case I'll get my 2 level 4 Phantom Knights, and then I can go into Dark Rebellion and then in turn Dark Requiem. Although now my opponent's starting to get plays with the Sword Soul of Taya, which is definitely more than a little bit scary here, especially as they synchro here. I'm like, are they going to go for a Baxia or a Chi-Xiao? They actually end up going for Draco Berserker, which I kind of understand wanting to use it to try to banish the Break Sword here, but I feel like there were definitely better level 8s they could have gone for. Like a Baxia would have absolutely devastated me here, right? Like if they would have Baxia'd, these 2 things back, I don't really know what I could have done, honestly. But that's fine with me that they chose to go for the Draco Berserker here. I'm going to lead with a Tour Guide to try to bait out the Draco Berserker effect, even though I don't have actually a rank 3 to go into at this point, because I've already used the Break Sword and Levier. So it actually is totally fine though, because I have the rank up spell set, because you can actually use it to rank up 2 ranks, not just 1, by banishing 2 cards. So since the Draco Berserker is specifically trying to banish the Break Sword, I'm just going to go ahead and rank it up into the Arc Rebellion. And now I can just go ahead and activate Arc Rebellion's effect, and just gain a bunch of attack points and then smack this Monk of the 10E for a game. I was a little bit worried because I know there's some, like, what is it? One of the 10E monsters can, like, mess up when you battle with a non-effect monster. Although I think that's actually Shaman, so it's not one of the ones you can use from hand or grave. So maybe I'm just wrong about that. But in any case, we got a pretty solid win there, even though we had our turn getting our boards wiped. So yeah, all right, cool, good. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game. So this game here is going to be against, it was another Sword Soul Worm, like 10E deck, but this one had a Zodiac engine thrown in. So again, it's always just interesting to see what everybody is playing here in this festival. So opponent's going to take the first turn. We don't have any hand traps. It's a little unfortunate, but they're just going to have 2 back rows themselves, so no need to concern ourselves too much here. So I'm looking at this hand, I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, I have a ton of options here, but we're definitely going to lead with the Terratop since we control no monsters. But I'm thinking even if that gets stopped, we can, we have the Ragged Gloves, we have the Foolish Burial to set up an Ancient Cloak to get like a Silent Boots, and then we can use that as an extender as well. We can, set up a rank 4 here, and then with the Silent Boots we extend into, we can go into an Dark Requiem setup. So, but that's all even if my Terratop gets stopped. If it doesn't get stopped, then we have obviously even more extension beyond that. So that's just kind of my general strategy, what I'm thinking when I see an opening hand like this. So, yep, especially the Terratop, then we're going to go ahead and go to Takaton Borg, no response. We're going to go ahead and go into Cherubni. As always, we're going to start off with that. Opponent's going to flip up the Solemn Judgment, so definitely going to put a damper on those plans. And it actually really sucks because, normally if it's the effects that get stopped and not the summon itself. So, and since Cherubni sends its cost, that doesn't really affect you too much. But yeah, getting Solemn Judgment did really hurt here. But it actually is going to end up hurting my opponent a lot more. It's going to hurt me because now I'm realizing, wait, my opponent's at 4,000 as a result of that, and they only have 1 face down card. Oh, I'm just going to go ahead and go for game this turn. So I'll Foolish Burial for the Ancient Cloak. Definitely the best thing in a just vacuum to get here, because we're going to banish it and go for the actually Torn Scales here, because I haven't normal somebody. I know I was talking about going for Silent Boots, but we're actually going to go for Torn Scales, and I'll send the Wing to the graveyard. Now I can get back that Ragged Gloves that I just discarded, and then from there we can go into good old Break Sword. So we can go ahead and activate Break Sword's effect and pop itself and the face down card. Opponent's going to flip up the Crossout Designator, and as a meme, just call Cyframe Driver. So I think at this point they kind of realize that their proverbial fate is sealed. I actually could have just set the Fog Blade and then sent that, and then I could have won that way. I mean, there's a lot of different ways I could have won here, but I wanted to style, I guess, a little bit. So, but I don't even really style that much. I just special summon the Greaves in attack mode, and then go for the Raider's Knight. Well, because what I realized is that I didn't really end up setting up the Silent Boots. I was going to go for like a rank up victory, but then I was like, I'll just go for another Arc Rebellion win, and then, yeah, we'll just smack our opponent with the Greaves. Stained Greaves, right? Yeah, Stained Greaves, and then smack him for game with the Arc Rebellion. So it's funny, right? Like, at first I was like, oh no, Cherubni getting Solemn Judgmented, that actually really, really messes it up. But in a way, the Cherubni ended up still contributing probably the equivalent amount of damage that it would have resulted to, or just basically kind of helping seal the deal alongside the board state that our extra resources were able to put out. So that's another reason why I think this deck is really, really good in the Limit 1 Festival. It's kind of unique in that regard that unlike a lot of other decks which have to focus on more limited version of their existing combo lines in order to make plays, Phantom Knights here, like I mentioned in the deck profile itself, they just really have to get 2 level 3s on board, and then they have plays for days. So I think that makes them a particularly strong contender in this format. So I've got one more game for us to watch. Let's go ahead and take a look. All right, last game that we're playing against here is or last opponent we're playing against, rather. This game is going to be against a burn deck, which I kind of thought about. I was like, there's enough burn cards, like randomly decent to good burn cards in this game that you could build a singleton burn. But I was like, I don't want to be that person at the same time, so we'll just let our opponent be that person. Plus, that you often end up with starts like this if you're playing a deck, that kind of a deck, so Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and Lightning Storm here. Just go ahead and get rid of this one back row. You know, like I've been mentioning, lots of back row in general being set. Not that this one was particularly threatening, but lots of back row in general just being set in this format. So, oh yeah, this was the game where I kind of realized that Fiendish Rhino Warrior doesn't really do anything in my build, because I only have the two Burning Abyss monsters I combo with, and Tour Guide is my only fiends. So once again, for my particular build, I would definitely drop Fiendish Rhino Warrior for just another level 3 generic extender. I'd have to search one. I don't remember one off the top of my head, but I'm sure it exists. We could even do like another, I don't know, like another target for e-tailing maybe or something. I don't know. But yep, opponent doesn't have any hand traps or anything. That's another kind of nice thing about this format, is that you do still have to play around hand traps, but they're definitely less abundant. So it's like, it does kind of feel a little bit more. It's funny, I saw people saying, making the sentiment that this feels like an anime format, and it does, because, you know, in the anime everybody always had like one copy of every card in their decks. This does feel a lot like an anime format, which I think is why I like it so much. I really like the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, and I often wish that the game in general was... Wow, I didn't realize they conceded that quickly there. I kind of wished in general that the game was a little bit more like the anime. So I guess it's just... this format is particularly piqued my interest because it lets me like live vicariously through this or like it lets me live my anime fantasy like vicariously through this festival in that regard. So that is a lot of fun, I do have to admit. So yep, all right, that's all we've got for replays of this deck for now. Let us go on now to the outro. Okay, everybody, thank you very much for watching to the very end of the video like this. I do greatly appreciate that. Yeah, this one was maybe a little bit shorter than I typically would like to put out, but just, I mean, the games in general, I mean. But, you know, it's kind of the nature of playing in a festival where it's pretty easy to concede if things don't go right. Like, it's hard. Like, I did play a lot more games than just those 5, obviously, but, you know, quite a few of the games I was winning were just me, like, or they were just my opponent like snap conceding, and then to be quite honest, quite a few of the games I lost were just me snap conceding because again, it's like a festival and it's not really like there's any penalty for doing so. I mean, yeah, you don't get your 50 medals, but 10 losses for a reward is just like not worth the amount of time it takes to play those out, in my opinion. So yeah, I don't know, what can you do? But we do have another deck to show off coming up, like I've been alluding to, and those games are definitely a lot more like invigorating, kind of back and forth, just due to the nature of the style of deck we're going to play. So I do look forward to that. Probably tomorrow, if not tomorrow, the day after, is when we will be seeing that video. So in the meantime, if you feel like commenting and subscribing, I would greatly appreciate that. I love seeing you guys down there in the comments. You guys are always offering good constructive criticism and feedback. I'm particularly interested in this format which you guys are playing. Do let me know in the comments, because I'm definitely looking to try a lot of different decks for this format. I think this is going to be a really fun festival for that. So yeah, if you have suggestions of decks that you've been trying that you've been seeing good success with, or builds, maybe even variants of one of the decks that I end up trying, do feel free to let me know, and I will definitely take a look at it. And then, of course, by subscribing, you're not only helping the channel, but also that is the best way to stay up to date and notified of when my videos come out, which they do come out every day. So you do have daily Master Duel footage to look forward to here with Hexlex. But that's all I've got for now. Without further ado, this is Hexlex signing out. Hope you guys have a fantastic day.